we've been checking out returns that a normal registered taxpayer has to file. So far, we've seen GSTR-1 and 2. In this video, we'll check out GSTR-3. GSTR-3 is filed by both the recipient and the supplier. It is a monthly return. It is nothing but a consolidation of all the information that's been filled in GSTR-1 and 2. At an aggregate level, of course, not transaction level. One more form that these taxpayers have to file, GSTR-9. This is also filed by supplier and recipient. It's an annual return, which is again a consolidation of the 12 monthly returns. Let's first check out GSTR-3, the monthly return. As we done with 1 and 2, we'll find out broad categories into which we can divide the details that these returns require. There are 4 for GSTR-3: basic details, details of inward supply, outward supply, and certain specific details related to taxes and input tax credit. Basic details, generally it remains the same: GSTIN, name of business, period. There are 2 additional items: the address of the business and the turnover details, which have to be split up into taxable turnover, export, nil rated, exempt, and non-GST. All the outward supplies, aggregate turnover details in these 5 categories have to be given in the basic details. Moving on to details related to outward supply. This is an aggregate detail of GSTR-1, and therefore it will be auto-populated from that return. The details that are captured are B2B supplies, that's supplies made to registered taxable persons, interstate as well as intrastate; supplies made to unregistered taxable persons, B2C supplies, interstate as well as intrastate; exports; and any revisions to invoices, credit notes or debit notes of previous tax periods. These are the only transaction level details that are captured. Any revisions, the rest are aggregate. Next, the details of inward supply. As you can guess, these are auto-populated from GSTR-2. The details captured are interstate and intrastate supplies received, imports, revisions, same as the case with outward supply. Additionally, your total tax liability on reverse charge on inward supplies which attract reverse charge, that will also be captured. Because it's inward supply and you've claimed input tax credit, details related to that would also be captured. ITC reversal, TDS or TCS or ITC received during the month. That's all. It's automatically captured at an aggregate level from GSTR-2. The only transaction level information is revisions from invoices, credit notes or debit notes of earlier periods. The last category are specific details. These are not auto-captured and have to be filled in. They are details related to either tax liability or payment and refund details. So liability and payment. Let's first check out the details related to tax liability. What all you need to fill in, you need to show the total output tax liability. This is calculated automatically from the details of outward supplies. This provides you another checking point. If your internal calculations don't match what is automatically calculated, then there's something wrong in the information of outward supplies. The next detail that has to be captured is mismatch between GSTR-1 and the monthly return. In case there is any revision in output tax, if you find there's a mismatch between your internal calculations and what's automatically calculated, due to mismatches, you will have to manually put that in. There are 4 reasons for these mismatches, and you'll have to find out what has caused the revision and fill in your revised details into any of the 4 categories that apply to you. The first one, excess input tax credit has been claimed. Input tax credit on credit note has not been adjusted. There's a mismatch of supply through e-commerce portal, or it's relating to any mismatched invoice in an earlier period which you found out now and you've corrected that invoice. Any of these 4 categories can cause a mismatch between output tax that's automatically calculated and your internal calculations. That's all relating to tax liability. Moving on to the last one of payment and refund. This is simple. You'll have to capture all your payment details, all the challans that you've filed, tax, interest, late fee and penalty divided across the 3 types of taxes: IGST, CGST and SGST. This again is auto-populated from the cash and input tax credit electronic ledger. Cash ledger maintains all the records of actual cash payments that you've done towards your tax liability, and input tax credit ledger obviously maintains the ITC that you've claimed. These are the 2 modes by which you can pay tax. So your payments are auto-populated from these 2 ledgers. Same is the case for refund. If you've claimed any refund, it's again auto-populated from the cash ledger. A refund could be for excess tax paid or for taxes paid on export supplies which you have done after paying GST, and now you're claiming refund for those taxes. On exports, you're eligible to claim refund. These were simple things. Mostly GSTR-3 is auto-populated from earlier returns that we've discussed. Only thing that you need to check is the tax liability and the payment portion. With that, we are left with only one more return for normal registered person, that's GSTR-9, the annual return. We'll check this out in the next video.